Is Mario and Luigi Brothership a flawed game? After such a long wait for this game to come out, this game has taken a right beating from left, right and centre about some things it doesn't quite do just right. Is it living up to fans' expectations, or has it dropped the ball this time?
Do they talk too much is one thing.
Do they talk too much? I mean, if you ask me, the dialogue in this game, it is a bit drawn out. The art style, does it hit the mark or does it fall a little bit short?
Luigi Logic? What's that?
Since when was Luigi your little AI partner? I thought he was a player character. I thought he was a bro. I mean, Luigi, you've been there for us all this time. Why did you have to go the AI route? Also, loading times. Far too many of those loading screens in this game.
Loading times? What about Mario? Where's Mario? Where's Martinet? Why does he sound like that?
It's me! It's me! It's not quite Mr. Martinet, is it? It's almost there. Anyway, without further ado, we're going to get into our view on whether or not Brothership really is a flawed game, and furthermore, is it a 5 out of 10? Now let's firstly start off here by looking at this game's dialogue. The dialogue in this game, it has to be said, is just a bit over the top. It goes on and on and on and on.
And on and on and on and on.
Wake up, Bertie, we're on camera. There's just too many dialogue boxes. I found myself mashing A over and over again far too many times to get through certain scenes. I just wanted to play the game.
Yes, you could wear the A completely off the button. You could cut out 80% of the game's dialogue boxes and still have a perfectly coherent story.
Sometimes in this game, you can feel the writers mashing as much text in there as possible as you go through one dialogue after the other, and they don't really add a whole lot to the story, I have to say. Sometimes it feels like they're just dragging this thing out with so much talking. I mean, just get on with it, please.
But wait, what if you like stories?
Well, I suppose so. I mean, for those of us who enjoy stories, particularly a Mario and Luigi story, this is right up your street, absolutely. If you enjoy a lot of characters saying a lot of things, please sign up right now for this game. Let's move on. Luigi Logic, that's a very good point. So in this game, as you may or may not know, as opposed to previous Mario and Luigi games where Luigi was a second player character, A for Mario, B for Luigi, in this game, he's more like your AI partner, your AI bro, if you will. You can press the L button at certain points to make him go off and do certain things. Is this really the Mario and Luigi we know and love?
AI Luigi, dangerous.
It's certainly a break in tradition for the series. Luigi, of course, following along now and doing his own thing instead of just being a player character. Also in battle, you've got Luigi Logic moments too. If you ask me, those are a bit of a mixed bag. They add to the stress of the battle more than anything. Sometimes, rather than being a benefit, they actually make you worse off for using them. For example, one boss actively punishes you with a really tough attack if you dare to unleash Luigi Logic on him.
You can't use your own logic. You must use Luigi Logic.
Just on the subject of Luigi, one more thing. Please can you tell me why, now in battle, you have to press A to choose Luigi's menu options instead of B? It's such a small but confusing change. I messed up so many attacks at first getting used to those new controls because my muscle memory just wanted to press B to make Luigi jump and hit those menu blocks. I don't know why they made that change. Let's move on though. What about the voice acting in this game, Buddy?
The voice acting? Well, they gave Charles Martinet the boot and dragged in someone off the street we don't even know who they are.
Well, it's kind of like this. The old acting was, "It's me, Mario." The new acting is, "It's me, Mario." It's not quite the same. It's not the same Mario and Luigi we know. It's a different voice actor. To be honest with you, he does a serviceable job most of the time, but there's moments in the game where you can just hear it's not quite Mario and Luigi. It's not quite there. I mean, I do miss Martinet, to be honest with you. I really do.
But why did Martinet get the boot?
I think it was something to do with the unions or strikes or something like that. Poor chap. Now, let's move on here. The frame rate in this game, I have to say, it's a bit choppy from time to time. There's some noticeable stuttering going on.
It's like crossing the channel in a storm.
I have to say this is particularly noticeable during, for example, the Hammer Rally minigame. You have to score 100 consecutive points. Now, anyone who's tried this will know how tough this is, but if you add into the mix a dodgy, stuttery frame rate you're trying to whack that ball to and fro, it becomes nigh impossible. I can't tell you how many tries I had to put into that thing. I once got to 99 out of 100 and failed.
Yes, like playing whack-a-mole in an earthquake.
It really is quite a challenge. Of course, we can also move on to discuss on the same note the art style of this game. Art style in this section makes it rather tricky to track the moving of that ball because it blends in with the background. It seems to me they've gone for a sort of imitation of the 3DS's simple cartoony art style, but this is the Switch. This is now a home console platform, and if you ask me, the art style looks a little bit undercooked, Bertie.
Why?
It's got this cartoony style, but it doesn't look polished enough. I mean, compare it, for example, Trouble to Super Mario Odyssey to Smash Bros. Ultimate, these graphics aren't quite up to scratch. But anyway, enough about art. Let's move on to the subject of hand-holding. I'm going to be honest with you, this game does treat you like a kid sometimes. There's so many tutorials, so many interruptions, it really does break up the flow of the game.
Hand-holding. So just when you're thinking, I'll do this, they say you do that.
Exactly, they do. You really want to play this game for yourself and say, yes, what if I went over here? What if I did that? But just as you're about to go over there, the game puts up a sign and says, by the way, did you know you have to go over there? Thanks for that, I wanted to find that out for myself, but you've now just told me and spoiled the whole thing.
Yes, which is code language for buffoon, move over there.
It is sometimes. The game's a bit of an overprotective parent. I mean, this even extends to in certain areas of the game. You say to yourself, I wonder what's through that pipe. If you try to go towards that pipe, up pops the message saying, we can't go there yet, just go that way instead. What kind of hand-holding is this? I just want to play the game.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, please leave me alone. There's even, in the game at one point, a message that says, completionist beware. It's like the game is holding your hand and leading you along and saying, are you sure you want to play it this way? You really should play this game our way, you know. Just let me play the game, please. Now, I don't want to bash this game too much. I do love the Mario and Luigi series, but really, we've got to keep giving this game some tough love. So let's move on to the pacing. This game, it just goes on and on and on. It goes on, in fact, longer than the dialogue does. You don't even get to see the main villain until 8 hours into the gameplay.
That's enough time to do your washing, mow your grass, build a small shed, take the dog out for a walk, and even clean your entire house.
And you know what? Some games are over by the 8-hour mark. Not in this one. You don't even get to see the big bad until that time. In fact, you don't even get your first Brothers attack until around the same time in the game. You've got to bear in mind Brothers attacks are a staple of this series. You don't get the first one until 8 hours in. In fact, the overall time to complete this game, do you know how long it is?
No.
50 hours! For a Mario and Luigi game! Can you believe that? My goodness, and you know what, really, considering the format of the game, should this game even be that long? Have they tried to drag things out? Does the pacing feel a little bit stale at times? Does it feel like it's overstaying its welcome? I have to say, this game might bite off a bit more than it can chew.
And what's more, you won't be allowed to go quickly if you want to. You might expect something like the Brothers Ball to make them move faster, but no, it's locked to exactly the same crawl of a pace that you get while walking. They seem to want to make you spend as much time as possible playing the game their way.
This is kind of like the slow movement pace in the Breath of the Wild games, which again, an intentional design decision to drag things out because Link just walks at his own pace, he's got limited stamina. In this game, Mario and Luigi, they just crawl along at their own pace, and if you do use the Brothers Ball, as Bertie said, you go at the same speed. I mean,
yes.
This is supposed to make you go faster, but nope, you don't get the ability to go faster with the Brothers Ball until later in the game. If you want to get this game played at any decent pace, you're going to have to work for it and spend a long time playing the game. Play more, I say. You aren't given the ability to make the Brothership move faster until you're quite a way into the early game. That means that during some sections of the early game, you literally have to sit and wait at some parts until the ship arrives at your destination. I mean, this is 2024. What's going on here?
Well, gives you time to go and get a cup of tea or something, doesn't it?
I suppose so. Let's look at the humour in this game. I'm going to be honest and say most of the dialogue, and there's a lot of it in this game, the dialogue isn't really funny. The jokes, they fall a bit flat. Look, many times while I was looking at the attempts at humour in this game, I didn't even crack a smile. I was unimpressed. I mean, this is a series that's supposed to be funny. Look at Superstar Saga, hilarious game. The writing in this game doesn't quite hit the mark.
Well, you could even say that the game's attempts at humour are flat, bland, childish, and generally not funny for those over the age of 10. The game seems to assume its players are all children, and there's not really much in the way of wittiness to be found. But what if you're an old age pensioner playing this game?
You're going to have to work hard to find some humour. Now also, the game uses a Splatoon-esque mishmash of voice clips while characters are talking. If you ask me, that wears thin quite quickly, because in Splatoon there's not a whole lot of dialogue. In this game there's absolutely loads of it, so expect to hear a lot of while you're playing this game. It just goes on and on.
Yes, and don't forget, the hero kids in the game,
oh,
they surely get far more screen time than they deserve.
Preach the truth, man. This is absolutely right. Those hero kids, they have rather generic, uninteresting designs, somewhat annoying personalities, and they overstay their welcome to the point of becoming stale and a bit boring. I mean, why are those hero kids even there? This is a game about Mario and Luigi and Peach, right? But no, the kids are trying to force their way in and take a lot of screen time. I'm not sure I'm on board with it, pardon the pun.
Well, you sort of tend to be sort of actively disinterested in them.
Exactly.
And just wish they'd sort of go away, but they don't go away. They're there to stay.
It certainly seems seems so at some parts of the game. Indeed, this game has a way of introducing rather bland-looking characters. Let's be frank, the Concordians, or whatever you want to call them, they're like these plug sort of chaps that walk around. They're rather bland. I find it hard to really empathise with these guys because they don't... I don't know, there's just something that's not that interesting about them, and when you then try to make characters out of a rather bland formula, well, a bland result is what you expect. Look, I know we've said a lot of things against this game, but I'll be honest with you, I still do love this game. It's Mario and Luigi, how could I not love it? I'm thrilled to see this series has come back after such a long delay. I'm really happy to see that Nintendo are giving some love to the Mario and Luigi series that started on such a great note with Superstar Saga, but I've got to tell you, dear viewers, this game is not quite it. It's not quite right. It needed some more time in the oven. But don't worry, fear not. There is hope for the future, because if Nintendo learns from some of the mistakes made in this game, which is still a very fun game, it has to be said, it's got some lovely moments, some great combat, definitely worth a play, but if Nintendo learn from their errors here, the next Mario and Luigi game will be something really special, so this is not a bad thing by any means.
Well, I suppose so. I suppose the big question to ask is the game fun?
Well, I've played a lot of this game. My thoughts, yes, it is fun. Is it flawed? Perhaps, but it's fun.
It's a fun, flawed game, or a flawed fun game, or just a fun game.
It's a funnily flawed, no, a flawlessly fun, no, a fun, it's fun. Play
yes.
it, for goodness sake. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Game Chat and Bertie discussing whether or not Mario and Luigi Brothership is a flawed game. Thank you most kindly, Dogs, and we look forward to
You're going too quickly. It's much slower than that. It's thank you, Game Chat. Look, oh, just...